So, Tortured 2 and 3 have hit another home media release. This is a DVD. There is a Blu-ray available as well. So this DVD here contains Tortured 2 and Tortured 3, which is actually Visions of Filth and Fluid Boy. So we've got Tortured 2, which is Fluid Boy, and Tortured 3, which is Visions of Filth. And it's really cool that these have found another home and getting more out there. So obviously I wasn't really aware at first it was going to be a franchise. I made Tortured, I shot it in 2007, edited it in 2008, and it came out in 2010. It was a long journey, as with all filmmaking, and that was Tortured, aka Sex Slave. The AKA was a play that I did on the old classic grindhouse and exploitation films I like, that had many aliases across the globe. And you know, I was quite pleased with that. I had a bit of trouble back in the day with content, so there was the uncut version, and it got slightly cut. And yeah, I mean, I then revisited the project in 2010. I actually shot some additional scenes, and I reworked it and cut out a zombie element of the original Tortured and concentrated more on the kind of crime aspect of it and drama side, cheesy drama, and that was called Psychopaths, and that come out at a similar time as Tortured, just the way it fell with distribution. I didn't actually plan on that. It was a bit cheeky, really, crafty, but yeah. So Psychopaths was supposed to be my definitive version, which again, I stand by Tortured. I don't know if everyone got it. I made some mistakes possibly with the story and editing. It was a kind of love letter to grindhouse cinema that I grew up loving, and I was still quite a young man when I made that film. And then Psychopaths was actually me concentrating more on a realistic storyline and it not being so chaotic and all around the houses. But I actually made it very trashy and exploitation-y, and looking back, I regretted that a little bit because I put like some crazy filters on it. It was almost like the in thing to do at the time, and I kind of had a bodged master. So I have actually just finished a rough cut called Terrorize, which is the definitive ultimate edition, and I will never revisit it again, I do promise, which is a black and white, completely restructured, more slick, pretentious version of my story. But that long story brings me to the franchise it has become. So the other year, a few years ago, I remastered the original Tortured, the original uncut version, and Darkside Releasing put it out on a Blu-ray with a nice slipcase, and they also did release a cut version of it that came out on Blu-ray in the shops, and it was really good to see it find a new audience, because Tortured is getting old now, since I first started the project, and it still has an audience, which is really cool. And it has been one of my most successful films I've ever made, and one I got quite known for out of my filmography. And so a little while after that, I approached Darkside with a film I had made called Fluid Boy. Now, I've had a troubled past with Fluid Boy. That was shot in 2015, and it was a fake snuff film, really, and it was a bit of an experimental piece. It was shot on VHS and HD and HDV. There was 2 actual VHS cameras used, and there was a Canon 5D, a Canon C100, a Sony Z1 HDV, and a GoPro. So it was 6 cameras, 3 different formats. It took me a week just to sync it up because there were different frame rates, and it was a real nightmare to gel that footage. But there was long unbroken takes with multiple cameras, and it was like a found footage, fake snuff, experimental piece. And it kind of falls a little bit maybe with extreme cinema, but it's not really that bad. It was It was something I wanted to try, had an idea for, and it was kind of a realistic way to get a feature made on a low budget and in with time and location restraints. So I didn't feel it was that bad. I tried to get it released. It actually had a case made. A disc was pressed. It was up for pre-order on Amazon, and everything was good to go. And all of a sudden, it got pulled. And apparently it was my fault because I'd made a trailer and I put the trailer out and it didn't go down very well. It was too extreme. Honestly, it really isn't. That trailer is still online. It's not that bad. And Amazon wouldn't stock it. I was told this. So then it had to get retitled Death Cam, and it came out with two other indie films, one of them being one of my old previous works. I had really no say or overview on this, and it kind of got really lost and forgotten. And I, I had got asked about it, and it disappeared a little bit. And so I approached Darkside saying, I have this film, which this like lost film of mine. I'm trying to, because some people have been interested in seeing it, and I'd had some messages about it, and I was trying to find it a home. And again, unsurprisingly, it was a bit of a pass. Darkside wasn't overly interested, and I was a bit bummed, and I was like, Fluid Boy is destined to be a lost film. And then, out of the blue, I had a message from Darkside, and Tortured had actually been doing surprisingly well for physical media and for a film that was old and for an indie film, and everything that goes against it, it was actually not doing bad, which was music to my ears. And after all this time, it was still, doing almost as well as it did when it first come out, like over a decade ago. So that was pretty crazy, to the point where it was pitched to me that Fluid Boy, this is a typical distribution and thing. If I ride the back of that, if I retitle Fluid Boy Tortured 2, aka Fluid Boy, then we could cash grab that. So, selling my soul to the devil, I wanted my film out there. Tortured was my baby. Fluid Boy was a film that I just wanted it out there. I'd made it years ago and it was stuck in limbo. So I went with it, and there you go. Tortured, Fluid Boy became Tortured 2, and while that was happening, while I was sorting out the delivery material and retitling it and everything, I had very recently just finished up Visions of Filth, which I was also looking to get out there. And Visions of Filth is a bit of an extreme film. That is extreme cinema. It touches that area. And I was a bit concerned because I felt like it might limit the distribution for it because of some of the content. And times have changed. It did have content similar to Tortured, and it was me returning to my roots, and was a bit of a throwback to my old style filmmaking, but I'd got carried away. It was a very exciting set. I had great people work on it, and it had become quite a graphic film. So I thought, do you know what? To try and get this out, and while this was going on, I pitched it that I had this new film. What if I called that Tortured 3? And goes the unofficial trilogy. Amazingly, Darkside went for it. I didn't realize at first that it was going to be bundled as a double bill. So you actually get both films on here, which and they're both uncut, with some goodies as well, for a few little cool extra features. And it's amazing to see that out there. Visions of Filth was a hell of a journey. It was originally made for a film competition festival called Sick and Wrong, which is now knocking around as the debacle for Bizarre Land. And I actually had 72 hours to turn a film around. There was no time restraints when I did this entry. So it ended up being over an hour long and hitting a feature length. Now, I only achieved that because I had a great team who believed in me and who encouraged me and helped me return back to my roots. I also meticulously planned every scene and I turned up to the location, went round and pre-lit every room we were going to film at. We had a location that worked for most of it, so it was in one place. I'd pre-set everything up, so it was literally in one setup to the next, to the next, to the next, all pre-done. And I did do, to some people, a sin. I actually shot it on my old iPhone XS Max using Filmic Pro. And I know the film Tangerine did this, and I also know the film Threshold done this, that were previous to my film. And, you know, Tangerine was an iPhone 5, like, and it looked really good. And I know it sounds mental, but honestly, I shot it 4K. And I had a gimbal, and I had a mic going in, so and I was lighting it, so I had all the actual film kit, but the actual body of the film was shot on an iPhone. I had the lenses and everything, and Filmic Pro, you know, it is an amazing bit of kit. It took my camera and turned it into, you know, like a mini DSLR that indie filmmakers would use, and I graded it on camera on the phone. I graded it, so in Filmic Pro I was setting the tones, the colors. I did grading to save me time to turn it around in the edit. So what I was shooting was already, I could see the results instantly, and I could be really experimental with the color in it. The options and what you could do was incredible, and I was really taken back with the results. And honestly, unless I told people, some people really didn't know what I shot it on. They didn't think to ask. They just assumed I might have been using my Blackmagic, my C100, other cameras I've got for other films I've made. You know, and when I told them I shot it on my phone, I think they thought it was a joke at first. But the reason I did that was speed. It was really fast. It was easier. It was quick. It allowed me to go bam, 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 get multiple shots, get the coverage I wanted in it, and it did. And it's a bit of a love letter to films I love. There's a nod to August Underground films in there. It's got kind of an I Spit on Your Grave kind of vibe with some of the story arc. And to be honest, more than Fluid Boy, it's relevant to the Tortured franchise. It's a typical Vitco thing. It's they are tortured by title only, and me being the filmmaker. But as a group of films clubbed together, they've got similar tones. And I say Visions of Filth works more than Fluid Boy as a tortured film. But I want to thank you for the support, and it's amazing. Visions of Filth is fast becoming my most successful film. It's nearly overtaken Tortured of releases and how well it's done and screenings. It's just got into another festival, Horror Island. There's actually some really more exciting news happening for Visions of Filth. There obviously was the box set from SOS Cinema. There is some really exciting things happening with this film, and you know, nearly 2 years on from making it, me doing this very independent, small budget film on a phone, from there to where it's come, honestly, it's amazing, and it encourages me to battle on in this crazy world of filmmaking. So from Darkside Releasing, the Blu-ray is also available, which I should have one on the way to me, and this is the DVD out now on Amazon, eBay, various places. I believe region 3, so you can play anywhere in the world as well. So yeah, check it out.